Hello students, in continuity of chapter number 13, organisms and populations. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about population growth. As we know, size of any population for any species is not static parameter. It means that it's not fixed one. It may be changed. It keeps changing with time depending on various factors. So many factors are there. Some are these factors. They may be food availability, predation pressure and adverse weather. In fact, it is these changes in population density that give us some idea of what is happening to the population during this. It may be it is flourishing or declining. It means that it can be increase or decrease with given time period. Whatever it may be, that either increasing or decreasing, some reasons are there. Density of a population in a given habitat during a given period is fluctuate due to changes in four basic processes. So we can say these changes in population density, population growth, main four basic processes are there. Now which are these four basic processes? It's a natality and immigration. These processes, they contribute an increase in population, and more two processes where population, mortality and emigration. It means that the population density due to these two, it can be decreased. So basically there are four processes: so natality, mortality, immigration and emigration can be affect the growth of population. So we can say these are main four factors that determine the population growth. Now let's understand one by one about these factors. First one is natality. Natality refers to the number of births during a given period in the population that are added to the initial density. In simple language, we can understand this natality is actually dealing with number of birth. As we know, for study it's a particular given time period is there in given population. At that time, the number of births during a given time period in the population that are added to initial density, it means that it is a natality of population, and due to this it increases. Second one, that is mortality. Now what is it? Mortality is the number of deaths in the population during a given period. So we can say it's the opposite to natality, mortality. Which one is the number of deaths during a given period in given population. So we can say due to this population density decreases. Third one, immigration. All of you have heard this word. Immigration means that number of individuals of the same species that have come into the habitat from elsewhere. It means that somewhere else during the time period under consideration. So now we can guess that due to immigration, the population density also increases like natality. So immigration, it means that the number of individuals of the same species that have come into the habitat from outside, it's elsewhere during the time period under consideration of study. Fourth one, that is emigration. Emigration is the number of individuals of the population who left the habitat and gone elsewhere during a time period under consideration. So now we can understand it is exactly opposite to immigration, because in immigration the population individual of same species may come into the habitat. Here it is left. So emigration, that is number of individual of the population who left the habitat and gone elsewhere during the time period under consideration. So simply we can now understand which are main factors, 4 factors which determine the population growth, and these 4 factors are natality, mortality, immigration and emigration. Out of these 4 processes, 2, it means that natality and immigration, it contribute the increase of population density, and rest of 2, it means mortality and emigration, it contribute to decrease the population density. So overall we can understand about these processes or factors involved in population growth. Now let's study this figure. It's giving clear idea about all 4 processes dealing with population growth. In this chart you can see at the center base, that is population density, which is known as capital N. In 4 direction it is giving idea about 4 factors. Natality, it means birth rate, capital B. Mortality, that is death rate, capital D. Immigration, capital I, and emigration, that is capital E. Now if you try to understand, we try to follow the direction of arrow, and the sign is given here as a plus or minus sign. We can understand due to which process or factor population density increases or decreases. As we have discussed here, now we can easily understand that natality, that is birth rate, it means that number of individual increases, so obviously population density increases, so plus sign is given here. Mortality, death rate, due to which population density decreases, so minus sign is given here. Same way immigration, so also new individual is coming from outside and number added to population density and it increases, that's why plus sign is there. And opposite to it, that is emigration, it means that the same species individuals, they are left out from same habitat, and that's why due to this population density decreases, so minus sign is used here. So easily now we can understand all processes, 4 processes which contribute in the increases or decreases in population density N, that is natality B and immigration I, due to which population density increases, N, that is mortality and emigration, due to which it decreases. So 4 processes are there involved in population growth. Now let's understand it by studying equation. If N is the population density, as we have discussed in chart also, at time small t, then density at time, that is t plus 1. If population density N at time t, then density population is t plus 1. So we can say N t plus 1 is equal to Nt plus in bracket B plus I minus D plus E. So the density at time, that is N t plus 1 is equal to Nt plus in bracket B plus I minus D plus C. Now we have clear idea about figure also. We can also understand about this equation. So that population density will increase if the number of birth plus the number of immigrants, that is P plus I, is more than the number of deaths plus number of emigrants, it means D plus E. Under normal condition, birth and deaths are the most important factor influencing population density. Other 2 factors assuming importance only under special conditions. So for instance, if a new habitat is just being colonize. Immigration may contribute more significantly to population growth than birth rates. So this way, by studying this chart, by studying this all four processes involved with population density and equation given here, now we can easily understand the population density at given time period. Growth models. We can say the growth of population with time show any specific and predictable pattern. Is it there or not? We can concern that about the unbridled human population, that is growth and problems created by it in our country, and it is therefore natural for us to curious about if different animal population in nature behave the same way or show some restraints on growth. So overall we can study by studying different type of growth models. In this topic we are going to about this out of this two from nature how to control population growth, that is exponential growth and logistic growth. So two main types of models suggested to this, which are known as growth model. First, exponential growth. Resource in population, it means food and space availability is obviously essential for the unimpeded growth of population. So food and space, these are most important requirement or resources. If we talk ideally, when resources in the habitat are unlimited, each species has the ability to realize fully its innate potential to grow in number, as Darwin also observed while developing his theory of natural selection. We have idea about the Darwin's theory of natural selection. So this way also we can understand then the population grows in an exponential, or we can say geometric fashion. If in population of size n, the birth rate, so actually not total number of but per capita births are represented as small b, and death rates again per capita death rates is suggested as small d, then the increase or decrease in n, this density of population capital N during a unit time period, that is t into dn upon dt, we can calculate by equation also. So it is regarding exponential growth of population. So if we talk about this equation by studying that when population size is n, so birth rate, so per capita birth is small b, death rate, this per capita death rate, it is small d, then increase or decrease in n, it means population size during a unit time period small t, we can calculate this way, dn upon dt is equal to b minus d into capital N. Now let b minus d is equal to r, then we can say dn upon dt is equal to rn. R in this equation is called intrinsic rate of natural increase, and it is a very important parameter chosen for assessing impact of any biotic or abiotic factor on population growth. So this way you can say dn upon dt is equal to rn. If we have some idea about any population and these values are given, suppose here value of r and some other, so this way we can also calculate about birth rate and death rate in human population or any other population. So this way this is about exponential growth. By studying this equation also we can calculate this way the birth rate, death rate, or if any factor, one factor is given, we can calculate the value of another factor. Population growth curve. This figure is giving clear idea about this type of population growth curve. Now we have studied above the equation. It's related with population size capital N. Its equation describes the exponential or geometric growth pattern of a population. So you can see in this chart also, and result in a J-shaped curve when we plot capital N in relation to time. Now we know about some basic calculation. We can also calculate the integral from the exponential growth equation, that is Nt is equal to N0 E upon RT. So this way the population density after time t, Nt, N0 means population density at time 0, R in straight graph, and E is the base of natural logarithm, that is 2.7. Any species growing exponential under unlimited resources condition can reach enormous population density in a short time. Darwin showed how even a slow growing animal like elephant could reach enormous number of absence of checks. So this way in population, various type of population we can study is population growth. We can also calculate by using these formulas, by drawing this type of chart or J-shaped curve. Also we can build this type of population growth study, and this way this type of exponential growth model of population gives clear idea about such a type of population growth. In this chart you can see in both direction population growth curve. It is the time small t against population density capital N. You can see here it's a J-shaped curve. So shape is J-shape, that's why it is known as J-shaped curve. And as we have discussed about this equation, dn upon dt is equal to Rn, and another equation that is related with logistic growth is also we are going to study here. Second type of model, that is logistic growth. Now we have clear idea about exponential growth. We have also studied the chart and J-shaped curve here. If we talk about logistic growth, no population of any species in nature has in its disposal unlimited resources to permit exponential growth. It leads to competition between individuals for limited resources. So when resources are limited, suppose food resources or space availability, at that time we can say it's a one type of competition. Eventually the fittest individual will survive and reproduce. As we know, it's a law regarding survival of the fittest. Government of many countries, they have also realized this fact and introduced various restraints with a view of limit human population growth. In nature, a given habitat has enough resources to support maximum possible number, beyond which no further growth is possible. We can also understand this logistic growth like exponential growth by formula also. This limited resources, the limitation growth actually is nature, so carrying capacity capital K for that species in particular habitat. So capital K is carrying capacity. Population growing in a habitat with limited resources is shown initially a lag phase, so followed by phases of acceleration and deceleration, and finally an asymptote when the population density reaches the carrying capacity, that is capital K. A plot of capital N in relation to time, that is small t, it results in a sigmoid curve. This type of population growth is called, that is we can say it's a one type of logistic growth. Here we have studied in this chart also, figure also, that is J-shaped curve. Okay. So this way, so describe by the equation also, we can also study by equation this logistic growth, that is dn upon dt is equal to Rn in bracket k minus a upon k. So it's a formula related with this logistic growth. Now here capital N is population density at time small t. Small r is intrinsic rate of natural increase, capital K, that is carrying capacity. Now resources for growth for most animal population are say finite and become limiting sooner or later. The logistic growth model is considered a more realistic one. So this another type of growth model is a logistic growth model. We can study by that particular growth curve, population curve, as well as this type of formula here. So now we can understand what is population growth, which four processes are involved with population growth, then various formula related with this population density and population growth. Two type of growth models are there, that is exponential growth and logistic growth.